Welcome back guys to another Cyberpunk video. Will we ever get New Game Plus? That is one of the big questions that still remains after Cyberpunk received a major overhaul with update 2.0 and already received 2 smaller patches to fix this update. So it is probably safe to assume that there will only be 1 or 2 more patches before this game gets completely abandoned by the developers. So this is an eerie outlook and pretty scary considering that so many players, including myself, totally love to play this game. When we look at the Steam player charts, it is quite obvious that the game got a big spike quite after the release of Phantom Liberty, and then it's almost down to its all-time lows of only 20 to 30,000 active players. Of course, this is a single player game and you can't keep up the hype forever, but the hype is flattening even faster than last year. And I think there would be more players sticking around if the game would give them more options to stay. I absolutely love to play this game, and that is why I'm making this video. I would love to see certain things just being implemented and taken care of to make this game be playable and replayable for everyone forever. But the scary outlook that this game may be only receiving 1 or 2 more smaller updates before it is left to die by the developers makes me really sad. Of course, we still have the modding community on PC who is doing their best to actually make this game attractive and adding the features we would all like to see, including New Game Plus, flying cars and all the crazy stuff we have seen. But PC players are only accounting for half of the player base. 50% of the players are playing on consoles, and we can safely assume that only a fraction of the PC players are actually actively using mods. So even if Cyberpunk gets massive long-term support by the modding community, only around 25% of the players would actually benefit from this, and everybody else would be left behind. A core aspect of Cyberpunk 2077 has always been the build system, and especially with Cyberpunk Update 2.0, they completely reworked the entire build system and made it more flexible for us to try out different builds. But on the same turn, they only gave us one respec. So they gave us unlimited options for using our cyberware and putting our cyberware together for our characters, but they also only give us one respec, which massively limits everyone to try out new and different builds. So this completely contradicts itself. We get tweets every week from the Cyberpunk official Twitter account that we should use the build creator to try out different builds, even though we have only one respec. I'm really sorry, but most of the players, including myself, have probably already used up all their respecs because we only have one. The thinking behind that is that you can simply go and create another character to just play the whole game again. Creating 1 or 2 characters probably makes sense to experience the leveling up from level 1 to 60 again, but after some time, when you have done all the leveling from 1 to 50 so many times, that really doesn't give you the kick anymore. You want to further upgrade and improve your existing character, which you have already spent so many hours into. You don't want your character left to die in the character graveyard every time you switch your playstyle. At the moment, every character, once they reach level 60 and they have done all the locations, there's nothing more left to do with your fully upgraded character in the game. Even though we have replayable missions and airdrops in Phantom Liberty, but let's be fair, that's barely enough to enjoy a completely new build and play the game with it. Being able to replay the game with an existing high-level character to enjoy a different build would give us much more replayability and longevity than just forcing players to restart the game 10 times, 12 times, 13 times over. At some point, players just won't restart the game anymore. They want to have further ways to improve their existing characters further and upgrade them further, especially avoiding all the grind for getting all those items again. And speaking about items, there are so many items and weapons which are mutually exclusive. If you make one decision, you can no longer get the other weapon. There are also new missions added in Phantom Liberty which just block you from getting all those special cyberdecks, Erebus, etc. You have to play Phantom Liberty multiple times to get all those items. You have to play the base game multiple times to get all those items on the same save file. And the weapons dealer in Phantom Liberty is not solving this problem, because he is not selling anything which is collectible during the endings, and he is not selling weapons from missions you have never played. And that is also the reason why so many glitches are found or discovered, because we want to find ways to further improve our characters. We don't like the fact that we are stuck for some arbitrary reason at just 300 cyberware capacity. We actually want more than 300 cyberware capacity to really equip all the cyberware the game has to offer. We want more than just 80 attribute points. We want more than just 80 perk points. And that is why so much time is actually put into discovering and finding those glitches. And New Game Plus could actually lessen the pressure on this and would give us possibilities to really improve our characters beyond just reaching level 60. Hell, if New Game Plus would just give us one additional attribute point if we beat the whole game in New Game Plus mode, that would add an insane incentive and replay value to the game. And the same goes also for perk points. If there's just a way to recollect all the 10 or 12 available perk points during New Game Plus, everybody would play New Game Plus as much as they can. And New Game Plus could open us a legit way to get all attributes to level 20 and getting all the 200 needed perk points. It would be such a massive improvement and long-term motivation for everyone if there are legit ways to get more attribute points and more perk points just by playing the game as it was meant to be. But those arbitrary limits are just discouraging players, because we all know that once we are done with the game, our character is just going to the character graveyard. And if you want to experience something else with different attributes, you just have to start over. And it would also make the desire for exploring more builds just so much better if there are ways, maybe even connected to New Game Plus, that lets us do a respec for every New Game Plus, or just, for God's sake, just let us respec whenever we want to. In order to make builds, to test build and to enjoy the game and the build system and the cyberware capacity system, we need more than one respec. The respec mod for PC players is probably the most used and most downloaded mod out there, and it is not hurting the game, it actually helps it. It helps people to create more and different builds and to enjoy the game in different playstyles. And while we had a lot of fun trying out all those new builds after update 2.0, there is still something that made me really sad recently, because when something really unique and special is found, there's just someone coming and patching it out. A very striking example for this is that crafting specs which can be found from organized crime locations are now removed after you use them once. This is actually only in response of people who like to use 3 of the same weapons to maximize their reload potential. People who have spent all their resources in crafting these weapons will now see these abilities being removed. It actually did not violate any rules to put 3 times the same iconic weapon in your build. This is just an example of players trying to have fun and trying to create something unique and have fun with your game. But we are just getting framed if we don't apply to the rules or the intended way of playing this game. In RPGs, players of course want to find their own tricks and ways to play the game. Removing unique playstyles once they are found is just so out of place, especially in a single player game. It basically comes very similar to just patching out the fun. And sadly, this is not the only example of framing the players. The whole cyberware capacity shard system just went completely wrong and off course. And it is really sad to see that when you love the game, and especially when you love to make builds for this game. If there should be a fixed limit of cyberware capacity, let's say 400 cyberware capacity, it is only a 5-minute job to impose a fixed limit that this value can never increase above 400. It would be just the same as once you reach 9,999,000 coins to just stop counting more coins. But instead we have a drop rate, we have fixed drops, we have random drops, which is just so over-engineered. It could have just stopped increasing at 400 no matter if you pick up a shard or not. It would have been so much easier and would have saved all those players from having this shitty bug. I'm also still wondering every time I do an airdrop mission why I actually get a carry capacity shard. Carry capacity is for my bag, it is not for my cyberware. We actually would need cyberware capacity shards from airdrops. Was there actually someone just mixing these 2 shards? So just in case someone at CDPR didn't get this yet, but we, the players, we are not too dumb to play airdrops. We just don't get any cyberware capacity shards from nowhere. A similar hard-coded perk point limit could have been also placed very easily in the game, but with all those fixed limitations, at some point it feels unsatisfying to play. And that makes us discover and work around those fixed limits to find new glitches. I think I'm speaking for many people if I just say I want to have fun with this game and I want to have fun in the long term for the next months and years to come when playing this game. I've made this video because I really hope that CDPR is making steps in the right direction to really give us the long-term fun and replayability this game deserves to get. Of course the modders are great and they are also giving us crazy features such as flying cars, but the reality is that the majority of players will be left behind because they just don't have access to those mods. So I really hope this game gets the patches and fixes it deserves. I hope you liked this video, please don't forget to subscribe, leave me a like and see you next time.